Hi, folks. It's Larry Talks, Season 2. It's March 30th, um, 2019. So we're beginning our second season of Larry Talks. And our first topic is going to be the film review of Michael Jackson documentary on Leaving Neverland. Came out in March this year on HBO, 2-hour documentary. So, how dare I do a video on this? Well, I taught film, so how about that? I taught other stuff in college for 33 years, and I saw the film. I've seen a lot of films. Okay, so that's why I'm qualified to say something about this. Three things I'd like to say about the film. Well, of course, there's no disclaimer. I mean, the Jackson family is suing the filmmakers because of the boys who were molested. Who, of course, you have to see the film to believe that. Um, they didn't come out until very recently. The molestations happened between the ages of 8 and 15 in the early 90s. And what led the one who talks the most on the film to do this was the fact that when he married when he was late 20s or maybe 30s, and he has a baby. And when he sees the baby, he says, "Oh my God, what have I done?" Well, what did he do? He testified at the second Michael Jackson trial that Michael Jackson never touched him. And um, when he had his own baby, he realized what he did. So did his mother, who allowed all this to happen, who sat in the next room and said, "That's fine." Both of them are now devastated. So there are three things I want to say about the film. Number one, the picture of Michael Jackson is pretty fair. I mean, they don't present him as a monster, at least not in the beginning. I mean, Michael Jackson loved this guy, and this guy loved him. You got to see the documentary to be convinced of that. And he's pretty amazing. Now, what this film does, that's point number one. Point number one is that Michael Jackson was a sincere child molester. That is, he fell in love with boys. This wasn't entertainment for him. It later on was, but early on, he was truly in love. He was fulfilling his love of children destiny. And that's hard to see that as legitimate in any way whatsoever. I mean, it's just hard to deal with. And the film really deals with it well, I think. And it's I think, very fair to Michael Jackson, believe it or not. The boy himself, this is the second point I wish to make, that there are maybe 25 episodes in which he tells what happened, just like I'm talking now. But what they do after he tells an episode is they keep the camera on him and show you how he feels about what he has just said. That's the kicker. That's what makes this film truly remarkable. And you get to see how this guy feels about what happened to him and how he feels right now. He's still very confused, very damaged, well, he's in a heterosexual marriage with a baby. And he has a nervous breakdown when he's almost 40 years old. And that's why he does this. What can I do? In Michael Jackson's defense, he set this guy up to the greatest career of almost anybody in the world. This guy's an internationally known choreographer. Michael Jackson set him up in that business, and he succeeded. So, I mean, that's the other side of the story. So, point number two is the sincerity of the person who is telling these stories. There's two of them, actually. The one who does the majority of the interview is the one I'm speaking about. The third point I wish to make is very disturbing, but then we're all equally disturbed by this issue, which is fame, Michael Jackson's fame. I think Michael Jackson initiated all this through seeing a film of him dancing and invited him to Hollywood. He's in Australia when this happens, the boy is. And mom says, let's go. Dad immediately commits suicide. Does that bother him? No, it doesn't bother us. Who cares about dad? Michael Jackson's in love with us. So off they go for years, back and forth with Michael Jackson from age 8 to 15. And mom's in the room next door, fine with her. Sure, you can sleep with Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson can't do anything wrong, right? In the end, the boy tells the story of Michael Jackson coming to see him at the end of his life. And he hopes there would be some kind of reconciliation and honesty. Michael Jackson comes and drinks himself till he passes out, and his kids take him home. And he dies within a year. So my theory is he killed himself. He was 50 years old. The doctor didn't kill him. Michael Jackson couldn't live with the fact that he started molesting all kinds of kids and doing it for entertainment, and then denying it, going to trial twice and winning because this boy testified that Michael Jackson never touched him. He lied. Well, you have to see the documentary to believe that. That's, of course, just my opinion. And that's why I'm recommending the film. It'll be one of the greatest, most serious, profound films ever made. For the first time, I really understand the damage done by molestation and how helpless the poor boys are, or girls, or whoever it happens to. Just helpless. And they interview his family, too. It's really well done. And then every time he tells an episode, they show film from the Michael Jackson history, so that you get a very fair representation. The lawsuit's not going to go anywhere. Anyway, that's all I have to say about this. So this is the first in our second season of Larry Talks, a film review of Leaving Neverland, a documentary on HBO in March of 2019. Highly recommend it as a mind-changing film, or let's say insightful. Let's just say that's what it's all about. Insighted stuff you can't believe. But then Trump is able to convince Barr that America and all the Republican Party that we're all in love and the Russians can have all our votes. And so if that can happen, Michael, it doesn't surprise me. But this film confirms that famous people can do anything they want. And that is upsetting. And we're going through that now with our president. And we'll see whether America will ever stand up to this. I mean, you have to say, in terms of the family finally comes to terms with it, but they still haven't forgiven each other. And the pain and suffering they've gone through, just like we will be paying for Trump for the next 2-3 decades. We're not going to get away with this just because we get rid of him and all his goons. How would you like to be Barr 30 years from now, or Fox News? And what are they going to be saying about these people? The Goebbels of Adolf Hitler and so on. History isn't going to be kind to these people, and it shouldn't be, because they've tried to destroy America. Anyway, you want to make a comment? Let's see. Oh, you can't see that. Huh. Um, it's Larry. Come on, it's got a show. Yeah, there we go. Larry, all lowercase, dot Moorman, Moorman, at AOL.com. Larry.moorman, Moorman, at AOL.com if you have a comment. Um, I try and answer all of them. I've received some from the last season, and I answered them, and it's very helpful. And sometimes I'm really curious of what you'd like to hear me talk about, but I only talk about stuff I know. The next program is going to be on another gay film I saw, which I think is outstanding and you should see. And I'll tell the good and the bad of it. Um, Call Me By Your Name, a film made in 2018, and wonderful acting and a very interesting message, which I am going to review in the next program. Later on, I hope to do a program about afterlife. How about that? Being a teaching philosophy for 20 years, I have a clue. Having studied to be a priest for 8 years and an active member in the Episcopalian Church for 15 years, and volunteer for a thrift store for homeless. That's what I'm doing now, aside from this. Hope to see you soon. Next time, Larry Talks. BB. BB.